Wow, Windows sounds. Fuck it. I guess we're gonna play it like this. Alright, I think it's gonna be a little small for me then. Fuck it. But it looks beautiful for you guys, so I'm excited. Thank you for your patience. I get to cut that out of the video for later. Alright, let's turn sound up so you all can hear this wonderful music. And with that, we should let the games begin, shouldn't we? I can bring my... Ooh, I can bring this stuff over. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. No, no. Pull this over, pull that over. Got our notes. Oh my god, I can actually see alerts for once. This is gonna go great, guys. I hope everyone's ready. Holy crap, I can actually see my alerts properly. There. New game! Tutorial off, I think, right? Do we want the tutorial off? Commentary, no. The following documents are taken from the handwritten notes of Trilby, an STP field operative whose real name remains classified. Game over. What? That was what I thought as soon as I watched Defoe's manor collapse into flaming ash. Oh cool, I get to click. The ordeal was over. Those 5 days cost us all so much. Philip and AJ paid with their lives, but they were the fortunate ones. Why is that doing that? Jim Fowler was expelled from school for truancy, a bright future in tatters. Simone Taylor took to the bottle, her broadcast became slurred, her eyes hollow and unwelcoming. She soon vanished from television screens. As for me, I tried to return to life as a cat burglar, but I had been forever tainted by my time spent in that wretched house. The memories of my possession came back in nightmares. Every night I was there again, in the mansion, staring out through the unfamiliar eyes as Philip died at my hands. I became convinced that John Defoe was not at rest, that someday he would return for me. I became so terrified of invisible enemies that I forgot about the tangible ones. Trilby caught, infamous thief, caught. Too slow, miserable years after Defoe Manor, a barrage of truncheon blows brought me a harsh lesson in reality, and I woke up in the kind of filthy cell I assumed would be my new home. But then he came, the man from the government with his nervous smile, offering an alternative. The STP, the Special Talent Project. It hadn't been that much earlier that I would have sooner died than entered an obligation with anyone, least of all the government. Had Defoe Manor changed me so much? Damn it. Whatever my reasons, I left my past behind and resolved to give my new superiors nothing to complain about. I spent a year and a half completing assignments, developing contacts, building a reputation. And then the past caught up. In the summer of 1997, I became concerned about Simone Taylor's mental well-being. The papers were reporting her continual breakdown, and she had become a virtual recluse. I had no idea if my appearance would assist or hinder. I had, after all, deliberately allowed her to think me dead. Presumably, she knew differently now, after the media coverage of my arrest, but I would expect her to be bitter about my subterfuge. On balance, I decided that a meeting with an old friend would most likely be beneficial. I came to her apartment building on a warm, stormy night and braced myself for the encounter. Can we? Yeah, we can. I'm actually trying to Okay, this is how we move. Sorry. What do I do here? Let's try knocking. I had no business with Simone's neighbor. I knocked sharply on Simone's door. Okay. Basic security measures ensured that that was impossible. Okay. I saw no reason to break in at that point. No. So apparently we don't need to break in now. Is it just downstairs? Alright, so I need to learn how to, Alright, we should probably try knocking a few more times. We should just knock a few times. Sorry, moving is difficult. Receiving no reply, I knocked again, louder. Still no response. The doorman had assured me Simone was in. I decided it was time to enter by my own methods. A reason that Simone could have been in trouble, and even if she wasn't, then at worst I was only playing to my reputation. I spent a few minutes feverishly picking the lock, and then let myself in. Alright. Let's feel around here. Simone's bedroom light refused to turn on. I stood in pitch darkness. The intermediate flashes... Yeah, the intermediate flashes... He meant intermittent. Flashes of light preventing my eyes from adjusting. Alright, feel window. Discovered a blind hanging down over the window. Alright, pull blind. Yeah, let's pull the blinds up. I pulled open the blind. Oh shit. Oh shit, we're already starting off with a dead body. Look. Corpse. The body on the floor was undoubtedly Simone. I felt for a pulse and my hands came away stained with long cooled blood. My fingers traced the outline of a large wound in her torso, slashed by a big weapon, wielded by a big assailant. I called for an ambulance, but as futile as it would be, left before they arrived. And due to me being a clear murder suspect, I was relieved from duty for the week. It took for the Ministry of Occultism to inspect the flat and confirm supernatural activity. My superior simultaneously apologized and assigned me to investigate if there was a connection to the Defoe Manor incident. Yes, we meet like a machete. A machete. Stab. Merely reading those 3 words, capitalized on the front of a loose leaf file, brought the nightmares back with more intensity than ever. Sure enough, a field agent reported that looters had discovered and sold several artifacts from the mansion, including the wooden idol that housed John Defoe's soul. To my surprise, no murders had been reported or committed by anyone who had come in contact with that accursed trinket. I did not find this reassuring. I quickly advised James Fowler to go into hiding. He was stunned but agreed. The boy had sense and still respected my judgment. This done, I began following the idol's trail. From the pawn shop it had entered the possession of one Professor Abed Kahal. Oh, wow. An authoritative historian. Abed Kahal. As in like Barry? You remember Barry Kahal? He had scheduled some kind of antique fair in the Clanbronwyn Hotel on a small island off the coast of Anglise, popular with tourists. God. Assuming the role of a scholar of antiques. Antiquities. Sorry, I booked a room. It's a weird coincidence, isn't it? Abed Kahal, which, that's not a common name. I guess it might be in some other... Never mind. I don't know that. On the 20th of July, that's funny. Some other shit happened in July. 2385, July 28th, that box happened. They picked up that box. Oh no, that was when the dude turned 55, that's right. Which was also that. Same day they picked up the box. I caught a ferry from Porthotog. Wow, I'm going to mispronounce these in Anglesey, whatever, and arrived at around 3 p.m. in Clanbronwyn Island coastal village. It seemed a peaceful hamlet, and in defiance of stereotype, the locals were welcoming and told me no local legends to dissuade me from exploring the island. The Clanbronwyn Hotel was in the island's center, surrounded by forests. I made my way there on foot. You're Trilby, right? As soon as I arrived, I was greeted by a balding man in gray and Norak. I wondered if I was expected to know who he was. That depends. My name's Lankman. I'm with the Ministry of Occultism. Oh, I thought the Ministry were clear on the fact that I was handling this on my own. Yeah, well, maybe there are still people who don't trust you, Mr. Trilby. What? I haven't stolen anything since I joined the STB. Your colorful past is not what concerns my superiors. It hasn't gone unnoticed that your history with the Defoe Wraith influences you psychologically. But I'm sure you resisted, but it could still cause you to act irrationally, disobey orders. Oh, shit. You can rest assured that I will endeavor to maintain absolute professionalism on this assignment. Nevertheless, I have my orders. I would suggest we keep out of each other's way then, and pursue separate investigations. I'm sure I don't want to get mixed up in a reunion. I watched him disappear around the corner of the building. I very much doubted that Lankman and I would become friends. The Clanbronwyn Hotel lobby was a warm welcome. The building was certainly well maintained, and yet there was something about it that nagged at the back of my mind, quickening my pulse. I dismissed the sensation, an act which in retrospect I would come to regret. Good evening, Terrence Railby. I have a reservation. T. Railby, that's fine, or T. Railby, whatever. Put your room 3C on the 3rd floor. Could you sign the checking book? Hello, Bethan. Just to let you know, I'll be having dinner in my room tonight. That's absolutely fine, Professor. This, I decided, was what they called a golden opportunity. Professor Cahal. Yes? I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage. Railby. Terrence Railby. We met at Sotheby's a few months ago? Oh, you don't remember me? No, of course I do. Terrence Railby, how you been? The astute reader has always guessed that both Terrence Railby and the previous meeting were utter fiction. I had spent some time studying Cahal's movements and habits. He was, by all accounts, absent-minded, and that was something I could use. Well, thanks. I was hoping I'd run into you. I've heard interesting things about the items you're showcasing here. You remember I do freelance scouting for some wealthy collectors? Yeah. Well, a client of mine has expressed an interest in relics from Defoe Manor in Buckinghamshire. He's been on my back for a while about it. Between you and me, he seems pretty obsessed. What remained of Professor Hall's suspicion melted away from his expression as the opportunity to make money entered the conversation. Well, I'm sure I don't want to damage your professional status. Would you like to come up to my room for drinks? Oh, I don't want to impose. No imposition at all. Please, follow me. Your room key, Mr. Railby? Ah, thank you. Please, lead the way, Professor. Abed? Who's your friend? Oh, let me introduce you. This is my personal assistant. I'm going to mispronounce that. She accompanied me on most of my incursions. He's looking for information on Defoe Manor artifacts. Oh, really? Him and half the people we meet? What is it about this place? Never underestimate the attraction of a mystery, my dear. Please, take a seat, Terry. We'll be right with you. Siobhan? Siobhan sounds right. I just don't... So, interested in ghost stories. The girl struck me as a forceful personality. I gave the matter some thought before replying. Not really. I'm just scouting on the behalf of a client like I told the professor. You know, it's strange to see someone as young as you in the antiques trade. And come to think of it, I thought only old men dressed like that. No offense meant. None taken. I didn't catch your last name. It's O'Malley. O'Malley. Siobhan O'Malley. Couldn't be more Irish if I tried, could it? Sorry to keep you waiting, dear boy. Now then, what should we talk about? Let's just talk. I want to know about this idol. That's why we're here, right? Tell me, does a huge man in a welding mask and a leather apron mean anything to you? Not really, should it? Never mind. It's a small African figure that my client wants me to look into. Resembling a rather ugly tribal god. Honestly, despite its age, it's virtually valueless. That's what I said, but my client is very insistent. He's interested in the paranormal and idol features and some more unlikely accounts of the Defoe Manor incident. Well, I don't suppose I should ask questions if this man here wants to take it off my hands. Ask about his son, his great-great-great-grandson that's not even... I don't have it on me right now. It's being kept in the hotel safe. Perhaps we can work out a deal after the fair? I had intended to display with the other Defoe artifacts. Inwardly, I just wanted to get this mission completed as fast as possible, but I didn't want to risk suspicion or giving off the wrong impression. That'll be fine. So, just out of interest, what else have you picked up from the mansion? Odds and ends, basically. Some silverware and ceramics. Most of a burnt rocking chair. And the painting, of course. Painting? A landscape from a wall in the mansion's lounge. I remember that. It had the little hanging person on it. The artistic value, of little artist, but the artist features prominently in Defoe Manor's colorful history. Matthew Defoe? That's him, yes. Bethan, she runs the hotel. She asked if I could display it in the lobby. Instantly, I recalled the sick feeling I felt in the lobby. I'd seen the painting, but it paid it a little heed. Oh. Are you alright, Mr. Rayleigh? You've gotten rather pale. What? Oh, sorry, I was just distracted by my thoughts for a moment. Lost in history, eh? Something like that. Mr. Harry? What the hell was that? What the hell was what? You were just sitting there, and then you went all stiff like you seen a ghost. You didn't see it? See what, Mr. Railby? I'm sorry, I have to go. Something's wrong. Oh, well, I won't keep you then. See you later, maybe? My head was spinning, and a sudden nausea churched in my gut. The world seemed to be pulsating, corners of the room wavering like a heat haze. His body is... You may say that I imagine these things, and I thought that must have been the case. Was I going out of my mind? Was the hotel really changing to some nightmarish twin? Was I the only one who could see it? If I was hallucinating, it was too complex. The harsh wooden floor beneath my feet felt real enough. The horrendous stench of rotting flesh that reached my nostrils could have been conjured by my imagination. I decided I had to find John Defoe's idol as soon as possible. If not that, then at least the painting Cahal had mentioned. I accidentally torched the painting. I misread what you said the first time. I was like, why would we touch it? I was convinced that some connection lay between Defoe Manor and this sudden madness. Oh shit, I'm sorry guys, I didn't turn this up high enough. You guys need to be crazy like me at the end of this. His body is here, his soul is not. There's bloody crosses on every door. Knock. Door? This tried to reach the point I felt when politeness could be done away with. The door was stuck shut. Door was stuck shut. Alright, let's go check out that painting that you guys are probably as afraid of as I am. Okay. How does one run? This is a good time to leave, I think. We've got some papers here. They appear to be entries from a diary. July 18th. Felicia and I took shelter from the storm in a decrepit old hotel in the forest. It seems to be completely deserted, so we bedded down on the floor of the lobby for the night. It's so peaceful here, the noise of the storm seems so far away. Send someone else. I know! July 19th. Exploring the hotel, it has become increasingly clear that the place is not as innocent as it first seemed. We found ancient corpses and the evidence of terrible deeds in several of the rooms. The storm is cleared, and we intend to leave as soon as possible. July 20th. I am certain now that the devilry is at work. Every path we take through the forest brings us back to the hotel. We spent a whole day trying to route to no avail. Felicia keeps talking of a demon she fancies she saw in the hotel kitchen last night. July 21st. Felicia is dead. Bye, Felicia. I was too late to help her. I saw her murderer just as she did. Perhaps I'll be the next. I'm beginning to understand. July 23rd. The murderous figure in black, the one whose body is savagely stretched into a mockery of form. It's not the architect of this nightmare. Rather, this is the work of that hideous lord of the Forbidden Lands. God forgive me. July 25th. I built a shrine to my captor in the lobby. An attempt to appease it. Nothing has changed. I have no more food. The horror is starting to affect my mind. July 28th. I am certain my mind is going. I imagined for a moment that the hotel had changed, had become finely decorated and welcoming as it must have once been in the past. I blinked and it returned to its normal, hateful self. The next few pages were sprinkled with blood, obscuring some of the text. August 1st. What is this relationship What is his relationship to that disgusting something? Is he a servant or a prisoner? Sometimes he acts alone, sometimes at the behest of a higher power. What does he want from me? August 3rd. He is after me now. I think I must have done something wrong. August 4th. It hurts. That was the last entry. I've decided not to take them with me. They were covered with blood and all stuck together. Alright, there's a body here. The body was that of a young, muscular man. I hazarded, and was wearing some kind of old-fashioned military uniform, complete with blue tunic and riding boots. More to the point, his head was missing, and his hands were torn down to bloody wads of flesh and bone. This sounds kind of familiar to something that happened on the boat. The person was chopping off heads and stuff. I noticed a collection of handwritten pages on the floor, so we read the papers. The lobby, too, had been tainted, and the painting I saw was absent. Presumably it only existed in the hotel's normal form. If that was the case, I needed to find a way back there, and dispel the hallucination of this if this truly was all in my mind. At this stage, I was beginning to wonder if this really was all John Defoe's doing. It didn't seem his style somehow, but what other evil could possibly be the culprit? Alright, let's look at the wall. A pentagram is scrawled on the north wall, and a cow's skull had been nailed in place over it. It seemed to be some kind of offering. Look. The entrance room of the alternative Clan Bronwyn Hotel at least retained the basic shape of a lobby, in that the pigeonholes remained and an altar about the right size and shape of a reception counter. Look, altar. There was some kind of waist-high stone altar in which some poor wretch had underwent some kind of sacrificial ritual. Look. Some of the pigeonholes contained disembodied organs and entrails, which presumably belonged inside the creature on the altar. Open door. The office door was locked. Alright. Okay. Look, painting. The left poster was some kind of portrait of the strange masked figure I'd glimpsed in the hotel. The middle poster was blank. The third was smashed. It appeared to be damaged. We're looking at the game here, with the front plate ajar and frayed wires emerging from the rear. Strangely, though, the screen was active and flashing blankly. Play a game? Even were it in fully working order, I'd been far better things I could be doing. This looks like a bar, so... In keeping with the alternative hotel's theme, the furniture looked like someone had been hurled against them with absolute fatal force. Lying on the bar, in a pool of gore, was a pair of long-nosed pliers. Alright, I'm gonna take those pliers. They were rusty but functional. I took them with me. Good God. Open door. It feeds. What does it feed on? There were 4 doors, none of which seemed inviting. One to the east led back to the hallway, and one to the west leading to the kitchen. One to some kind of unisex bathroom, and another large one that someone had boarded up. Some kind of flayed corpse was nailed in place over the door to the toilet, blocking the way. Open door. The kitchen doors refuse to open. Alright. Alright, I have to look at this corpse, guys. You know what? I just found a better solution. God damn it. Oh well. The body had been completely flayed and still glistened with blood. The hands and one of the feet were held in place around with 6-inch nails. Use pliers on nails? The pliers were ideal for removing the nails. There you go. Oh, okay. The hell was that thing? Give me a moment, guys. I have to fix a problem. So move this back over. Move this over here. You get to listen to that fantastic sound for a couple of seconds while I set something up. Right now I'm really hearing shit. Oh god, I can see. Oh god, this works so much better. Alright, open door. And we're in the bathroom, so no? Look, sink. The right sink was full of blood. Milady, welcome Chewy. Tips video game. The right sink was full of blood, the left was merely dirty. There's something on... Is that like... Look. The gloomy lavatories were in a state of advanced disrepair. One of the cubicle doors was hanging off its hinges, and the mirror above the counter was broken. What is that? Look, counter. That's a counter. The counter had 2 sinks and was covered in filth and mold. To my surprise, a brand new sealed envelope was sitting between the basins. Take envelope? Baffled, I took the envelope. It was strangely bulky, and I tore it open. A white pill bottle and a note fell out into my hands. I here enclose the note with this report. Trilby, if you're reading this, then you too have seen the hotel change. At present, I have no idea if the alternative hotel is part of the ethereal realm or some kind of construct, a pocket dimension. There is a definite correlation between one's level of agitation and one's tendency to reality shift. Fear is your enemy. It leaves you shining like a beacon for whatever evil brought us to this place. Enclosed is a bottle of tranquilizers for my personal first aid kit. When you find yourself shifting into the other place, take a pill and try to calm down, and the real hotel will return. Do not let it concern you. I'm researching the phenomenon. Your task is to find Defoe. Good luck, Agent Lankman. Lankman's letter raised more questions than it answered. I pocketed the pill bottle. I think we kind of want to go back because we want to look at that. We want to go find that a painting at the very least, right? So let's use the pills. Hesitantly, I tipped a tranquilizer into my palm and swallowed it without water. It quickly took effect. Yeah, it happens. You know, sometimes you're just like, I have to go get fast food. You barely make it back to the hotel. You stumble into the bathroom, and then, well, you see what happens. It quickly took effect. I felt the anxiety lift from the pit of my stomach, and my dismal surroundings seemed to feel less imposing. And then I felt that strange sensation again of lightheadedness and detachment as the world around me began to quiver. Well, this place looks nice. And we're gonna have a tranquilizer addiction by the time we get done here. Yay for benzos, man. Need to get that. What? Okay. Well, that was crazy. Get real close so we can look at the painting. I was frankly astonished that Matthew Defoe painting had survived the immolation of Defoe Manor. As I stared at it, it seemed that the surrounding room began to blur until only the painting was in focus. I fancied I could hear the creaks and whispers of Defoe Manor's hallways. I felt a bizarre urge to reach out and touch the painting. Alright, let's touch painting then. Just do it. As I stepped closer, I could feel sound becoming muffled and my head spinning, as if I were about to faint. My hand, as if pulled by an invisible string, reached out towards the clumsy brushstrokes. Okay. Defoe Manor, July 28th, 1821. Okay, I have to press something here. Matthew Defoe is 15 years old today. He is excitedly putting the finishing touches on a painting which his father commented on encouragingly, the first time he has ever been supportive of Matthew's artistic leanings. Matthew is now convinced that his father is lifting from the mysterious depression that had plagued him for as long as either of them can remember. Now, he intends to make the painting absolutely perfect before showing it again. Knock, knock. Master Matthew? Sir Roderick has requested your presence in the trophy room. Thank you, James. And if you'd be so good to inform him that I will now be retiring for the night? Very good, James. Ah, there you are, boy. Let me introduce my son, Matthew. Hello. This is my friend, Mr. Smith. He's an expert on African tribal art. Well, just a scholar, hardly even that, just someone with an interest in the subject. And he has offered to assess the figure I brought back from my travels. I wasn't aware you had family, Sir Roderick. Is your wife home too? Regrettably, Belinda is no longer with us. Oh, I'm sorry. Quite all right, you couldn't have known. She succumbed to illness shortly after Matthew was born. I finished the painting I showed you, Father. Oh, good. Well, Mr. Smith, what do you think of the piece? It's an intriguing little puzzler, actually. The design is reminiscent of a few Central African tribal gods I'm aware of. But to be honest, I've never seen anything like this before. May I ask how you acquired it? I'm glad you asked. It was 20 years ago when I was a younger man on my first travels in the Dark Continent. We were traveling along the west coast when our bearers spotted a ship that had run aground. It was an English clipper named the Sea Angel, and a short exploration revealed that every single crewman had just disappeared. Of course, we immediately sent a letter to the nearest embassy to report the finding. But the point is, it was on the lowest deck of the ship that I found this very figurine you see before you today. What an extraordinary tale. But how do you account for there being an African tribal carving on a British vessel? We were confused as you are. It wasn't a slave trading vessel, but there must have been a Negro on the crew. It has been a personal mystery of mine ever since. I was hoping you could help shed a little light on the matter. But there's more to tell. I haven't even begun to recount the strange events that have surrounded this artifact. Would you care for a glass of brandy? Why am I talking like that? Thank you. That would be most kind. Matthew, fetch the brandy from the kitchen, and some glasses. Yes, Father. Hey, that's an apron. I know exactly what that is. Oh, cabinet next to the door, yeah. Walking is difficult. Probably can turn this down a little bit, so you guys don't have to hear the walking as loud. Fuck it, it'll be fine. Okay. Take brandy, maybe? Can we just skip straight to that stuff? Matthew took the brandy bottle and a pair of appropriate glasses. Bang me. Knock knock. Hello! You haven't tried to speak to me in a while. You see that thing in the back? It's I did another painting today. I showed it to Father and he said it was promising. I keep trying to tell him about you, but he never listens. You have knocked me for so long I was beginning to wonder. Bang bang. Hey, do you want to see my painting? Bang bang. I'm just not sure how to get it through the door. We would put it under the door. Put painting under a door. Pushing the painting under your door, okay? Don't we have to go get it first? Just give it back when you're finished. How dare you, sir? You intrude on my hospitality and insult my judgment? The Father? Get out of my house, you worm. I better see what's happened. Father? Oh, it's you. Father, what happened? I heard shouting. That old fool told me some rubbish about my figurine. Said the only tribe it could have come to all died in slavery years ago. This is a forger. I'm sorry. What are you apologizing for? Where's the brandy? Give it to me. I'll go back to my room, Father. Show me your painting. Father? You said you had a painting. Show it to me. I can't, Father. And why? Because... Oh, come on. Why not? Out with it. Because I gave it to the boy behind the door. I see. Father? Go back to your room, boy. I have to write my diary entry. Yes, Father. An hour of silence passed, and Matthew grew concerned about his father. Strangely, the most disturbing thing had been Sir Roderick's reaction to Matthew mentioning the boy behind the door. In the past, raising this had usually provoked a violent rage or an instant flat-out denial. Matthew wondered what sort of anxiety was going through his father's mind. What was that? Father, what are you doing? Matthew was confused by his own reluctance. He had longed to see what was beyond the door his entire life, but now, given the chance, he was struck with fear. Very large veggies. Very large veggies. He peered cautiously through and saw a set of rough stone steps leading down to some kind of basement. I should have done this the moment you came into this world, demon child. May God forgive me for having a part in your creation. Father, what are you doing? Do you see what I've done? I didn't want him to see this. Do you see what you've done? Father, no. Father! Father! Boo. Ah! My apologies, dear boy. I just couldn't resist. You look so lost in that painting. I don't think you even saw me come in. What? What? Is everything alright, Terry? Yes, everything's alright. Everything's fine. It's just for a moment there I thought I saw... Oh, never mind. Siobhan and I were talking about you after you left the room. I said you seemed like something was making you very terribly anxious. Frankly, I think that's still the case. Oh, well, if you're sure. I was certain my mind was not playing tricks on me. I had been back there in Defoe Manor, looking through the eyes of Matthew Defoe. I had seen the events that created John Defoe. I saw his death at the hands of Sir Roderick, that terrible, violent end that would bring him back as that awful wraith. But somehow, seeing that event, it was clear to me that there was more to this than just the ghost of one retarded youth. There had been something very wrong about that idol, even before it was used to destroy John Defoe. A name stood out in my memory. The Sea Angel, the name of the ship which Sir Roderick had found the figurine. I now had a lead. Professor, do you know anything about a ship called the Sea Angel? You know, it's funny you should mention that name. There's a really old wooden chisel among the Defoe Manor artifacts, and the words Sea Angel are carved into the handle. Where is this chisel? Out on display in the convention hall next to the dining room. What's all this about, Terry? It's nothing. It's just a little side project my client wants to get into. Thank you for your help. No problem. Take care of yourself. What's behind the painting? And also there's stuff on the desk. You know what? We're gonna be a thief. We're gonna nick everything. I was frankly astonished that Matthew Defoe's someone had stuck a piece of paper under the frame, perhaps for me to find. Take paper. It was a page from a religious book I wasn't familiar with. I here enclose it with these notes. Oh my God. Victim 5, the child. I, the fifth man who desired judgment, was the child, whose father had held the carving of the slave. The prince came to him and was at once rightly pleased with what he had found, for the house of the child and his father already knew well the name of the king. The prince. And the prince watched. The child was thrown down by his father and broken with the wood of the prince's soul. But as the child's body, mind, and soul began to drift apart, the prince held them together, and he said, You are the child, and to you I grant power, for I see in you the potential that will grant my father, the king, his greatest wish. You shall be not of the land of technology, nor of the realm of magic, but of both, and thus you shall form the bridge. And across the bridge the king shall come to bring this message to the men of technology. Through you, child, the bridge will come, and thus I name you the bridge keeper. And the prince touched the child, and he was the bridge keeper, and his three aspects were granted power, so that his soul would join with the prince's soul in the wood of the tree. And the bridge keeper rose up and threw down his father, and threw down his brother, and truly did they know the name of the king. And into the house of his father went to the body and the mind of the bridge keeper. Well, it kind of sounds kind of like what happened to the Defoes. What is this about a tree and stuff? Look, counter? The reception desk was a cheap pine affair and unadorned with papers or materials. Someone appears to have left a matchbox. Take the matches? Only one match left. I took it anyway. Set fire. Hold on. Burn hotel. Sorry. Light hotel. That might have made sense at another time and place, but not then. What? Makes perfect sense. Alright, so where do we need to go? Alright, well, let's just do some exploring then. Yay. Okay. Walking is very difficult. Alright. What the hell is that thing? On the north wall, I noticed a presumed to be a smoke alarm. Alright, let's just try to look at things. Knock, door. There was no reply. Knock, door. There's no reply. Knock, door. It would not give when I pushed. I saw no direct means of opening it. Alright, just look at this door. What does that mean? The door at the far end was colored differently than the others. I noted in red, emergency fire escape. Access. Do not attempt to force. In the event of fire, door will unlock automatically. Oh, really? Okay. Why? Okay, my controls are being funny, sorry guys. There's no reply. Okay. It has to do with this fire detector. Smoke alarm. Buzzy buzz buzz. So let's check that out. What are we working? Why are we brewing? Alright, so let's use the fire here. Use match alarm. Alright then. Click. Open door. Oh, what's that? Looks like a fucking crowbar. It was probably used for garden maintenance, tool storage, that sort of thing. An old iron crowbar was the only thing. Alright, take crowbar. Remember those boards? Crowbar was with me, perhaps it could serve a purpose. Remember those boards in the The dining area. Is it just climb ladder? Enter the same floor, come in. Alright. Hey, look where we are. This is... Is this what your apartment complex looks like, Joey? You know. I'm not talking about one you might live in, I'm saying the one you own. Is this your salt mod hotel or salt mod apartment? You own a flat, not an apartment. Apartment means something different to people who use the Queen's English. I'm not going to get into that discussion because it's not the time or place, but there is a huge difference between American English and British English. That's all. So, yeah. Use crowbar on door. So, yeah, apartments tend to be part of for. See, we have apartment buildings that are one or two. Yeah. We have apartment buildings that can just be one or two floors. It's a general word. The crowbar was very old. I doubted it possessed the necessary strength to do that. What? On the boards. As expected, the stress proved too much for the ancient crowbar, which was bent to uselessness. I discarded it. Oh well. Let's try opening the door. Well then! Let's just look. Judging by the smell, this room had probably not been ventured into for years. Desiccated corpses dangled from the ceiling, left to rot by some warped interior decorator. God damn. Yeah, let's look at the wall. Look, wall. The prerequisite bloodstains had faded. What? The prerequisite bloodstains faded to an ugly brown color over time. It did not make them any less unnerving. It had been used to daub some kind of symbol on the north wall. Touch symbol? I couldn't do that just then. Alright. Well, let's stop being crazy for a minute. I took another pill. Oh. God. Really? Well, let's get crazy again. Sorry guys, we need to be crazy again because we have to take the pills and then go through the door. There it goes. Alright. Burnt rocking chairs, creepy shit all over the place, some sort of pick. Okay. Look. Let's look. Professor Cahal's antique show was as sparse as its small venue would indicate. A couple of tables were laid out with various trinkets, and charred rocking chair was the centerpiece. All right. That chisel sounds really important because it's what made the creepy ass idol. A couple of valuable antique books. I recognize one of them from Defoe's Manor Library. The others were unknown to me. Look. Table. There was an unopened bottle of some sort of soft drink in the end of the... Not really. On the display tables, I recognized one or two Defoe Manor's artifacts among the miscellaneous knickknacks. A set of manacles, rescued no doubt from the Manor's basement, stood out the most. I spotted the chisel the professor had mentioned next to the pile of books on the north table. Well, let's look at the chisel. How's it going, Phi? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. It was very old. It was a very old make of chisel, rusted and probably very fragile. As the professor had described, the words "Sea Angel" were carved into the handle. Again, I found myself inexplicably drawn to the artifact. My fingertips were already extending towards it, as if drawn by a magnet. Alright. Touch. Chisel. A loud buzzing played in my ears, and my vision began to cloud as I reached over and laid my hand upon the tool. Somewhere in the Atlantic, July 25th, AD, 1789. Mabuta had been a great warrior in battle. His skill was thought unmatched in all of Africa. He had had respect, a great house, a slew of beautiful women, children to make any father proud. But then, just one mistake, and it had all been torn away. His mistake was in standing by his beloved king when the invaders from the coastal kingdom arrived. Now, his great house was in ruin, his women raped, and his children murdered. And for Mabuta, the worst fate of all, sold to the white men in exchange for weapons, shackled with his fellows in the hold of a slave ship. Mabuta was strong. Perhaps he could have lived as a slave, but then came the sickness. A simple fever, no doubt to be gone the next day, but the white men took no chances and threw him overboard. For days, Mabuta drifted, waiting for the black cloud of death to descend. Having lost everything, he now sought only the embrace of the deep, a welcome end to a life betrayed. But the end did not come then. Around, Captain. Voices, unfamiliar, speaking an unfamiliar language. Mabuta was suddenly terrified that the slavers must have returned, but he was as weak as a newborn and could not move or speak. Looks like we picked him up just in time. Don't know how long he's been drifting out here, but he can't have lasted much longer. Good Lord, look upon him and the greatest evidence of humanity's inherent evil. Never forget that, man. Sailors such as you or I did this, left this poor wretch to die. Slavers aren't sailors like you or I, Captain. No. I do not know how those devils can have the audacity to still call themselves human. Today, there is no pride in being an Englishman. Find our new passenger some quarters. Make him comfortable. Passenger, Captain? Every innocent who sets foot on my ship is a free man. Is there something about this policy you find questionable? Not at all, Captain. No, these were not the slavers. The ship was different, less crowded with terrified black faces. There was an anger in the voices of the white men, but not directed at Mabuta. Still frightened, but somewhat reassured, Mabuta passed out. Days passed, and Mabuta's health was restored. To have been rescued by the ship of these good white men had been a fantastic stroke of good fortune. He decided that it had been the will of the gods that he should survive, and that the proper thanks would be in order. Just an idol. That was the answer. If he could just find some suitable wood and a sharp blade, he would carve the finest idol of his life. Mobutu could not understand the white men's language. Any communication would have to be non-verbal. Look. There were several crewmen tending to the ship scattered around the deck. Despite the language barrier, Mobutu could tell they were friendly and cordial. Alright, how about... what that... okay, so we're here for a chisel. Let's point at the chisel. Alright there, laddie. Oh, I see, you want something to carve with. Here. The sailor handed Mobutu a sharp, almost brand new workman's chisel. Just bring it back when you're finished with it. So now we have that. Alright, we want to go probably downstairs. O'Malley Shipping, it looks like it says. Alright, this looks like some wood here. Chisel box, maybe? That might have made... oh god. Use chisel. With the chisel and the wood of the crate, Mobutu could finally create his offering. After several hours, Mobutu was very pleased with the result, a fine rendition of his kingdom's god for fertility and fortune. All that remained now was to return the chisel. Climb. Okay. What the hell? Oh, shit. The vision faded, and I felt myself being hurled forcefully back into the present day. Well, that happened. That tall, thin creature, that black-clad ghoul. What was its significance to my predicament? Why did it appear again and again throughout history to spread death and horror? There was no connection to the idol's shape or Mobutu's tribal deities. A tall man was no fertility god. It must have been connected to the wood of that crate somehow. There had been a name on the crate. Mobutu hadn't been able to read it, but I, looking through his eyes, had. O'Malley Shipping. Could the owner have been an ancestor of Chauvin? It was a flimsy possibility, but at that point, my only lead. I resolved to discuss with Chauvin at the earliest opportunity. Oh, there's something. Look. Nope, that's wrong. No, that was right. Look, paper. I recognize as being the same source of the one under the painting in the lobby. Victim 4, the slave. The fourth man who desired judgment was the slave, who had not been brought Freyhorn's message, and who tormented the wood that was the prince's soul with the sharpened blade. The prince came to him, and he struck the slave down, and he knew the name of the king. So killed him because he chiseled on some wood? And the prince said, "Not one of your household shall I leave alive. Slave, for thrice now have I brought my warning, and any who still fail to heed shall be named as fool and judged most unworthy in our sight." Okay then. Finally, oh, it's you, Terry. I thought you might have been the serving staff at last. Talk? Talk, man, about ship? Do you know anything about Siobhan's family? Specifically whether or not they ran a shipping company in the late 18th century? What on earth makes you think I would know that? I really don't know. I just thought I'd ask. Why don't you ask Siobhan? Instead of wasting my time with your questions, she could easily answer herself. You know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Alright. Let's go back in here. Oh! Hey, Trilby. Have you seen in the hotel staff anywhere? No? Perhaps they go to bed early in these parts. Stokazola. Some wine, some black and white drink cup. Look, game. I think it was a pub quiz machine. A piece of white card on the screen declared that it was out of order. Talk about ship. Let's ask her about the ship. Do you know anything about history of your family? I wouldn't be much of a history student if I didn't know, now would I? I'm researching my family tree as part of my diploma. That's ideal. I appreciate this may sound like an odd question, but trust me when I say it's important. Did your family run a shipping company in the 18th century? That's an odd question, but I do remember reading something about O'Malley shipping. I'd have to check my notes. I left them in my book bag. Could you meet me up in my room about 5 minutes? I'm in 2A, next to a bed. Certainly. I'll see you there then. Come on, man. There was a pun there we could have gone with. You know, the whole fact that you're... Sans the lounge... Yeah, it's very, very typing. Is very leisure suit Larry. Yep. Very much so. Yeah, buddy. Gonna go hit on this Irish chick. Alright. Said second floor, we're dealing with British English here, so second floor is you know, you go up to. There you go. Otherwise we'd have had a problem now, wouldn't we? Needs a casino. How about we knock? Doors open. Open door. Come in, please, Terry. Do you have the papers? You must always get right down. Must you always get right down to business? Come and sit down. Let's talk. How are you feeling? We were a little worried about you. I have these moments of illness. What do you want to talk about? Defoe Manor. Oh. It kind of interests me. I was really into the media coverage of the incident at the time. This client of yours, the one who wants the figurine, what does he know about it? Well, he has an interest in the occult, and there's some nonsense story going around about it. Something about the idol being a vessel for an evil ghost. I wasn't really paying attention. Really? I don't remember hearing about that in any of the reports. No, you wouldn't have. It wasn't widely. Have you heard of the story that Trilby was in the house? I could feel cold sweat drilling down my spine. Every fiber of my being was concentrating on not giving any outward signs of alarm as Siobhan spoke of my secret name with wide-eyed enthusiasm. No one believes it, but Simone Taylor insisted it was true right up until Well, you know. She says he saved her from the house. I think that's a little far-fetched. That's exactly what a bed says. He says a ghost is one thing, but throwing Trilby into it just makes it seem silly. Truth be told, I don't think a bed believes in Trilby any more than he does ghosts. He's so grounded in reality. Have you always been an antique dealer? Siobhan, please, I came here to talk about... Let me put that another way. Have you ever been an antique dealer? I knew it! The outfit, the hat, Terry Railby. You're him. You were in Defoe Manor. And now you've come here to finish off the ghost. Siobhan, I always knew there was something else in this world, that there was something better, more glamorous just below the surface. Will you take me with you? Listen to me. There is nothing glamorous about what I do. I live in shadows that threaten to consume me every single day. And if you pursue this any further, you're going to walk straight into one. What are you talking about? There's something extremely dangerous in hell, but I don't know what it is. Oh god, no. Shit. I'm gonna kick this motherfucker. Siobhan was out cold, but uninjured. She would probably be safe on her bed while I continued my investigation. So, creepy dude. Creepy dude. That could have been worse. That could have been worse. Time to go full thief on this one, I guess. Look. Bag. It was a perfectly ordinary student's backpack for carrying books and personal possessions. I need to know about your shipping company lately, or lady. Yeah, you know, well, when someone starts running away from you, trips and falls, you should probably, you know, especially if they said they have incidents and are mentally ill, you know, you should probably give them a little bit of space there. All right, it's perfectly ordinary student's backpack. All right, open. Bag? Under the circumstances, Siobhan probably wouldn't mind. There were a few textbooks, a half-empty water bottle, and a large folder marked O'Malley Family History. This, I decided, was my quarry. I flipped through the pages until I reached the information relevant to the 18th century and read my discoveries out loud. Liverpool-based O'Malley Shipping Company ran for 3 generations of the family in the mid to late 18th century until the loss of one of their clippers drove the company to bankruptcy. The owner, at the time, Jacob O'Malley, placed the blame somewhat irrationally on a shipping crate, which the family legend led to be haunted and that had been on the ship at the time. There are numerous tales of bizarre events surrounding the crate, and the story of the crate's origin is no less mysterious. It goes that a strange young man came to a carpenter's in Liverpool dockyards with a very expensive-looking harpsichord, which he insisted be smashed up and the wood used for whatever purpose the carpenter desired. He refused to leave until the instrument had been utterly broken into its components, parts in front of his eyes, and the wood made into crates for O'Malley ship. When pressed for his name, the man identified himself as Jack Freehorn. Oh, shit, the Freehorn. In the Rooms of Jack Freehorn, July 28th, 1778. So what trifle have you been wasting your father's money on now, Jack? What does it look like? It looks like a virginal. A harpsichord, actually, in the Flemish style. Quite old, quite expensive. Well, I suppose I should be grateful that something is distracting you from the occult for once. I fear you be speaking too soon, my friend. Oh God, I should have known, you and your silly obsession. So what devilry inhabits this magnificent instrument? The instrument as a whole is, from the most part, untainted by the ethereal realm. Oh shit, usually that have been carved from the century is oak. And what's the interesting part? I will not be disheartened by that sharp tongue of yours. The wood has gone through many incarnations before being incorporated into this device. Items of furniture, building material. In fact, it was just over 200 years ago as part of a wall. A wall of a certain inn in a well-traveled road in Wales. The unicorn? I'm so pleased you remember. I could hardly forget it, the way you have been obsessing quite heartily over it of late. Your correspondents persist in filling your head with rubbish about ghosts and demons. I count myself very lucky to have been tracked down even a small piece of that whole hostelry. I know I've already told you some of the wonderful stories attached to it. And this instrument has had its fair share of mysterious happenings. Robots. Thank you for the bits, Ancient Rito. The usual batch of strange noises sudden... Seize sense, my friend. This curiosity of yours for all things ungodly has no doubt already befouled your immortal soul. You're a fine fellow, Wilbur, but you have not a drop of romance in your body. Now, stop browbeating me for my inquiring mind and let us take dinner. That night, Jack was stirred from his bed by the sound of music emanating from his new instrument. His first thought was anger, mostly because the harpsichord was an antique, never intended to be played. But then he listened to the haunting, melancholy tune and felt his stomach roll inexplicably with fear. Who's down there? Hello? Jack could not take a step further because he realized with a lurch that he recognized the dark figure that sat at the keys. He had read of the strange entity that recurred frequently in stories surrounding the Unicorn Inn and the objects that were later constructed from its wood. And he knew with absolute certainty that the tall man would destroy him were he not destroyed first. Actually, this story came well before the Slender Man. Just to put that out there. Let's look at this desk. Jack's desk was covered in untidy letters, papers, and had been studying lately. A flintlock pistol given to Jack by his father lay gathering dust atop a pile of correspondence. Take pistol. Yeah, and Slenderman was amazing, you know. Yahtzee's anti-recycling passed on. Yahtzee is anti-certain things. Jack took the gun with him to confront the intruder. Well, I can't say this came way before. This was done like 2000, early 2000 something. Alright. Shoot tall man. You won't take me, demon? Wilbur? No. Oh God, no. But I could have sworn. You. I know you. You have. Oh God. Please forgive me, your royal majesty, for my transgressions. I am a worthless, craven fool, not worthy of a second of your precious time. I beg you, spare me. I will redeem myself for my offense. I will be yours forever, my body, mind, and soul. Thank you, my lord. Thank you. Presented himself as one Jack Freehorn. This may well have been the same Jack Freehorn who went to form a bizarre religious cult. A depraved group of paganist worshippers who were spoken of with such derision by... With my latest flashbacks, my knowledge of the history of this cursed wood gained another step. Before the crate, it had been a harpsichord, and sometime before the harpsichord, it had been a part of some kind of hostelry in Wales. An inn called the Unicorn. Why did that ring a bell somewhere in my recent memory? I had definitely seen something in the Clanbronwyn Hotel that was linked to this place, but where? Siobhan? Where the hell did she go? Yeah, where'd our Irish chick go? We had a Irish chick. Alright. Take page. Victim 3, Freyhorn. So we're moving backwards in time. We're learning stuff. I, the third man who desired judgment, was Freyhorn. Or, yeah. 1. Okay, so verse 1. Freyhorn, who had bought from those who had made luxuries with the wood that was the prince's soul. The prince came and struck down the lover of Freyhorn, and Freyhorn knew the name of the king. And Freyhorn said, I know you now, O prince, who was the arrogant man, and I anticipate your wish, and I shall devote myself to spreading the teachings you have brought me and the love of our king. And the prince was satisfied, and Freyhorn called all those who would listen, and they formed an order of blessed agonies that would work to redeem the follies of the men of technology. Alright, let's go back. Let's go back down. We need to learn something about the unicorn. Are we at the unicorn? We need to go look. Alright. Where are we off to? Well, that's nasty. From somewhere to the west, I heard a familiar sound of a door being unlocked. A Lankman? Lankman, wait! Tables were universally hidden under tablecloths, yellowed and stinky with age. There was a place of rancid meat in the center one, adding conceivable stench to the air. I tore off a lump of meat to take with me. If I came up against anything hostile and carnivorous in this place, it would help to have something other than myself to offer it. Okay. So where the hell did he go? Oh, wow. Let's just do a quick... What had once been a kitchen was now some kind of torture room. I found myself wondering whether it was used for extracting information or merely to entertain the alternate hotel's hellish proprietor. Okay. The grimy cellar had been abandoned for some time. A large section of the floor was torn away. The worn-down area had been conquered by a swarm of greasy black beetles. And this is what we need the meat for. Use meat on beetles. Look, corpse. At least 2 individuals met with sticky ends down here. One of them had been mostly completely cleaned by the beetles. The other I noticed was heavily decayed except for his hand, which was fresh and pink. I wondered if it had something to do with the puddle of water that it was lying in. This water seems pretty nice. Use use pills? And waited, but well, the pill didn't do anything. To my unending concern, I realized that the decay of the alternate hotel had spread either to me or the pills, and they no longer worked. I had to find a way to restore their effect, or at least another method of calming myself. In the far corner of the room was a puddle of water, created by drips from above. It had a curious color to it, and the drops seemed to glow with their own illumination. The liquid was having a strange effect on the nearby corpse. Take water. I don't know how we do it, but it was almost as if the water was drawing me to it. Not like a scrabbling thing in my mind, like the chisel or the painting, but more like a beckoning siren. I couldn't help myself. I crouched down and dipped my hand in. It felt uncommonly refreshing and brought an amount up to my lips, and my unhygienic surroundings forgot. It's a pleasant feeling of simultaneous coolness and warmth spread from my stomach. I realized that the water had some sort of rejuvenating effect. I had no explanation for this, but at the time didn't care. I was beginning to feel at the back of my mind that familiar tickling sensation that indicated a reality shift. So I swiftly scooped a few drops of liquid into my pill bottle, shaking it through the remaining pills. Alright, we're back here. Wow. Alright. I don't see anything to take in here, even though I'd like to take one of those knives. I'm gonna try taking a knife. I could fathom no use for any of the kitchen. I don't know. Protection? Let's go back in here. Maybe there's something we can... Or fuck, we check everything. Oh, Terry, it's you. Have you seen Siobhan? I was about to ask you that. What did you do to the girl? I hope you don't intend to seduce her away from my service. I bet I need you to understand. You and I and Siobhan are all in critical danger. There's something evil in this hotel, and it's closing in fast. Mr. Railby, I've been over this hotel several times. Apart from us, there's absolutely nothing here. Please, keep your fairy stories in the playroom where they belong. Oh, that's where we saw the unicorn. Look at that sign. Maybe, I don't know. Talk a bit about unicorn? Do you know anything about an inn called the Unicorn? Ah, you noticed my shingle. I picked up as curiosity in an antique fair a couple of years ago. Dates all the way back to the Elizabethan period, from what I understand. But I just can't find a buyer for the damn thing. I don't suppose you have any clients who might go for it? Possibly. Do I have your permission to examine it? Of course. I may have to touch it to assess the texture. By all means, so. As long as you're not going to test its strength over your knee or anything. Okay. And Enki? And Chorito, we're gonna read what I'm typing here. Alright? Touch unicorn. Are you jealous yet? Are you jealous? The shingle's design was a simple one of unicorn's head and a half profile painted with average ability on a dark oak backing. As I pressed my fingertips to it, however, the design seemed to extrude from its backing like a hologram, and it seemed to draw closer until my vision was filled with wood grain and mediocre brushstrokes. I could vaguely detect the professor speaking to me on the very edge of my hearing, but by the time I realized it, I was already gone. Somewhere in Wales, July 28th. Man, this shit keeps happening on July 28th. 1581. Owen Somerset. Jesus Christ, Somerset. That was the crazy ass doctor on the Mephistopheles. Owen Somerset, a traveling merchant, was on his way back to his wife and family in London, having concluded some business dealings in Ceredigion. Caught suddenly by a summer storm, he spied an inn in the side of the road and marveled at its good fortune. Faith, 'tis an evil storm that blights the sky tonight. I must have the Almighty on my side to find myself so close to an inn as it broke out. Aye, perhaps. The innkeeper seemed quite taciturn, but Owen was in a good mood and was determined for it not to leave him. It was probably too late to continue riding, even if the storm cleared. Owen decided to inquire after a room for the night. One second here. Wow. Wow. Cool. Okay. Owen had to be more specific and talk about something. Talk. And you want a bed? Man, about... I need a bed for the night. Yeah. What? Talk, man, about room? Good evening, sir. Would it be possible to secure a bed for the night? Be wiser man than I. Go from this place and never return. What? There's a curse upon this inn. I will not have an innocent doomed to the same fate as I. What? Man, about evil? I have plenty of gold to pay for my board. The devil cannot be bought off, my friend. What devil? What is the nature of this curse? The sin was built by my father 20 years ago. And from the wood of a fallen oak he stumbled upon on an island north of here. He had noticed human bones scattered about, but did not heed them. This inn has been a curse on our bloodline ever since. Madness and death claims those who stay here. This time last year, it claimed my father. Soon, I am certain it shall claim me. Always eat the bones, otherwise you could be eaten by a fucking rabbit. Talk, man, about curse. So, why do you remain? I do not believe in fleeing from the mistakes of the past. If Almighty wills that my family must pay for our errors, and then on this I accept. But I would not see another suffer for our sins. Leave now, before the shadows take you. Be rude about. Man, about... Sir, I have little patience for fables, and even less for riding after sundown in the middle of a downpour. Lend me a room, and I shall take the responsibility for my own well-being. You still insist? Not only will I insist, but I will pay whatever price you ask. Go then, take the room upstairs. And if you remain by the morning, you shall pay nothing at all. Well, that sounds good to me. Open the door. I like this. This is the easy part. Owen lay himself down, intending only to test the bed's softness, but in his exhaustion he quickly succumbed to sleep. In the early hours of the morning, something jolted Owen from his slumber. A piercing sound, no, a piercing smell. Can we go down the fucking stairs? Okay. A blaze had been set before the front of the door. By whom? The innkeeper? Okay, let's get something to try to smother it with. Owen took the sheet with him, presumably for comfort. No, because we'll go smother some shit. Assuming we're allowed to go downstairs. Use sheet on fire? I have to get closer to the flames first. Use sheet on fire. What in God's name? Oh God, it's him, it's the innkeep. What kind of... Who could have... Shank? Once again I returned, disoriented from my vision. I was closing in on the source of the madness. The innkeeper had said that the wood came from a tree on an island. Could that have been Clenbronwyn Island? Given what I was seeing, it seemed a valid, if worrying, possibility. Tell me what went through your mind. A fucking halberd! Besides that, it seemed I had no other leads. So what would I do? I was determined not just to let the trail end there, but if there was just a single clue. Take paper. Trilby, I know you are following a trail. Go to the roof if you wish to proceed. Victim 2, the innkeeper. 1. The second man who desired judgment was the innkeeper, who had brought the house of the who had bought that wood of the tree and built from it his house. The prince came to him and his guest, and he struck the innkeeper down, and the innkeeper knew the name of the king. The prince turned to the innkeeper's guest, and he said, You I shall not let live, for once before I have made this warning, and still my soul aches with what is done to the wood that is my soul, and I will spare no man who injures me in this way. And the innkeeper's guest knew the name of the king. Phew. Alright. Is she back in here yet? Yeah, what is the name of the king? I still don't know the name of the king. Well, let's talk about the inn we were just in. Professor, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Sorry. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You're not gonna get me a drink, you can shove off. Well, maybe there's some fucking cooking brandy in the fucking kitchen or something. I don't know. Wow, corruption. Let's sell some stuff in the basement. Open the door. It's like a storage box and stuff. There's a bottle of wine. Take bottle. I took the wine. Perhaps this would appease the drunken professor upstairs. Kind of stock, guys. Sorry. Open door. Getting wasted on that wine. Can we just stop for a second? Thank you. Use pills? Ah, that's right, we have to leave the room and come back. Professor? Oh, he's gone. Where's he gone to now? What the fuck? Okay then. What the fuck was that? The fuck was that? Well, that was the Mephistopheles, if you remember that. The future! Oh god, no, he shifted. That doesn't look normal. Abed's drunken misery had caused him to shift into the dark hotel. The jolly man of whom I had grown fond lay decapitated on the floor. With Siobhan's disappearance, I was now truly alone. Have a good night, Echo. Thanks for dropping by, man. I appreciate you being here. The professor had known nothing of the horror. He was blameless and ignorant of any matter involving Defoe Manor or Cursed Idol, but it seemed my dark captor cared little for these facts. Why haven't you killed me too, you skitty bastard? Oh. In a display of a warped sense of humor, the porcelain head had been sitting where Abed's old one had been. Take head? Move closer first. Take head. I pulled the head out of the stump, trying not to think about the wet, cracking noises this caused. Actually, let's use more pills. Okay. Counter. The receptionist was cheap pine, adorned porcelain leg lay upon the desk. I guess take leg? I took the leg with me. Okay, so we got porcelain leg and a porcelain head. Open. I think it's locked, but we're gonna check. I encountered far stronger locks in my time. I picked it open within 10 minutes. That's the safe. The air in the hotel often. Porcelain eyes and ears and, and mouth and nose. I haven't come across any of those yet. The air in the hotel office was swimming with dust. The proprietors clearly felt that record keeping was more of a formality than necessity. In the corner of the room was a diminutive but sturdy steel safe. There's virtually nothing on the desk, and it lacked a chair. Obviously, very little work was actually done here. Bookshelf. The single shelf was the home of a large number of dust-covered binders and papers. There was also a porcelain leg. Alright, take leg. Take leg. I took the leg. Yeah. Can we leave? I didn't even thought about that. Boom! We can just leave. Can we just leave anytime we want? Just peace out, you know? You know, it looks like a fucking arm. Take, arm. Okay. Open door. Let's go back up to our room. Fuck it. To our room it is. And we were in what, 3C? Is that where we were? First, second, third, yeah. We do need to get to the roof eventually, because that's where Langman's waiting on us. Hopefully we don't have to pick the fucking... We should have the key. Open door. Oh, this wasn't... Yeah. Take arm. Open door. What the hell? Well, that happened. This is getting creepy now, isn't it, guys? Bring her back. Blood seemed to be running down the stairs as if someone had attempted to descend them while bleeding out with increasing speed. The words "bring her back" were spelled out on the north wall for unknown reasons. Look. Body? Looked like some kind of porcelain mannequin, but with bits missing. I couldn't see how it was attached to the wall. Can we just skip and say, like, attach pins? Oh, cool. I replaced the left arm. I replaced the right arm. I replaced the left leg. I replaced the right leg. I replaced the head. The body was intact. For some reason I couldn't explain, but I sensed something had changed back in the real world. What kind of ridiculous locking mechanism is this? Well, you know, Silent Hill happened. Alright, let's use some pills. I did, I put the head on there. Return the slab. Use pills. Alright. Okay, we're going to the roof, Lankman. That's not a bad view. Take paper. Oh shit. Clenbrunwyn Isle, July 28th, 1501 AD. So this thing spans over almost 1,000 years. Holy shit. A sturdy, fine tree, this. It took us from dawn to dusk, but we finally have it down. I'm tired, Father. 'Twas indeed clever of us to investigate this island, eh, boy? I have never seen such a gigantic oak, nor do I expect to again. But its wood shall keep us in business for carpentry of years to come. Father, look at these stones. Do you think there was once a house here? It matters not. Why must you always look elsewhere but at what matters? This is your... Father? Is something troubling you, Father? Take rock. Throw rock. Where am I? Must have shifted into the dark world during the vision. Trilby! Siobhan! Oh, thank God, I thought I was alone. What happened to you? I don't know. After you knocked me out in my room, I woke up and everything was like this. The hotel's ruined, there's blood everywhere. I saw this horrible man. Tall, thin, long black coat. You know him? Enough to know you're lucky to be alive. He didn't notice me, so I ran up here to hide. How did you get past the doll? What doll? Trilby, what the hell is going on? I told you what would happen if you followed me into the shadows. This isn't your problem. Take these. What are these? Tranquilizer pills. Take one. When you calm down, the hotel will go back to normal. Won't you need them? I don't need to run away anymore. Trilby, wait. Where are you going? I know enough now. I know where the wood came from. Perhaps I can find a way to end this. So I was right. The curse's wood came from Glenbronwyn Isle, but what good does that knowledge do me? Wait a second. I've got around to reading a letter that I took out from the rock. Trilby, I'm very close to ending this. Meet me in the hotel basement. I will show you my discovery. Linkman, I need to take a break after this. The other page was another of those religious papers. The Book of Victims. Victim 1, the woodcutter. First verse. The first of those against whom the prince sought vengeance was the woodcutter. He who had held the axe that first felled the tree. And the prince came to him and his son, and he struck the woodcutter down, and the woodcutter knew the name of the king. And the prince turned to the woodcutter's son, and he said, You I shall let live, for you are young and are of the innocent, and that you may go among your people and tell them what I will wrought. And the woodcutter's son fled and told all of what he had seen, but the men of technology are arrogant, and his words were unheeded. Okay. Tap, 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 tap. We're gonna get down there. We're gonna keep listening to this awesome whispering. Tap, 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 tap. Alright. Okay, so he said meet him in the basement, huh? We should probably go do that. To the basement. Door. Wow, he seemed to have dug a hole. Open? Look hole. The hole seemed to lead into some kind of tunnel that gradually expanded into an underground cavern. Okay, 1 second. 1 quick second, guys. I just need something to drink. There we go, guys. Enter hole? Heh, heh, heh. Wasn't close enough. What? And then we went the wrong way. Hey, it's that symbol again. Whoa. What the fuck? I was in some kind of cavern dug out of the rock beneath the hotel. It seemed to be in a constant state of flux, flitting back and forth between the real world and its dark twin. I was certain that the gigantic stump in the middle of the floor had something to do with this. Well, it seemed to be when we touched things, so... Glenbronwyn Peninsula, July 28th, 55 BC. Okay, so yes, several millennia. Cabadath, a Celtic druid, awaits the return of his friend and colleague, Galden, who brings news of the invasion of the Anglesey, by the Roman Suetonius Paulinus. Having fallen out of favor with his fellows for certain radical beliefs and activities, Cabadath lives in solitude in his remote forest clearing and prefers not to travel himself. Cabadath! Galden, you bring news? The foreigners have landed. They cannot be deterred by our sorcery. All is lost. Oh? Certain, are you? They are making their way across the land and eliminating resistance. Even you, out here, will be brought down within days. I am sorry, Cabadath. And the great druids of Anglesey bow so easily to the brash foreign power? Do not hang your head yet, my friend. Perhaps the activities for which I was ostracized could yet spell an answer. What are you talking about? You know of my dealings with the ethereal realm. I know what you claim, that there exists some otherworldly territory populated by demons and creatures of magic, and that you, Cabadath, can somehow commune with these creatures. Come inside, I shall explain. Cabadath, what is this madness? In my dealings with the ethereal realm, I have learned of many powerful demons and elementals. But there is one spoken of only reluctantly, a beast possessing of awesome power. You plan to summon a demon? The most terrible of them all, who strikes fear into even the most unflappable creatures I have spoken with. A pain elemental, indeed the only pain elemental, ruler of a desolate wasteland where none venture pain. An invulnerable, hugely potent beast that feeds on the agony of others. And today is his day. The day when the boundaries between the realms weaken and he glimpses our world. To bring him through at all, that point should be simple. Even if you could conjure such a thing, how could you have it defend our land? I have much knowledge in the ways of magic. And with the correct bindings, any demon can be forced to my will. Are you fucking retarded? I completed the preparations while I waited for your return. All that remains is the summoning. Cabadath, it pains me to see you build your hopes on such nonsense. Be silent and watch. You shall see your nonsense soon enough. In this hall of death and by the light of Belenus' gift, I summon you. I bring you gifts to mark your path. I feed you with pain. I call you with madness. I summon you with the greatest loss. And I bind you by your true name. Jizo. By the gods! I have reached out to you through the void, Jizo. I command you by your true name. Show yourself. Cabadath, please stop this. Show yourself. That's huge. It's larger than I anticipated. But Jizo must obey the rules of magic. It is bound. I can command it. No! It is far more powerful than I thought. Galden, help me! Forgive me, Cabadath. No! Galden, I beg you! Do not let it take me alive! Chizo, of course, has no use for meat. It feeds on pain. It does not kill its prisoners. Cabidat's agony was so particularly rare morsel, and Chizo ensured it would last. His soul was placed... Okay, so Cabidat's soul was placed inside an oak sapling on the site of his old home to grant his body immortality. For 5 centuries, as the tree grew, he knew torment beyond even his most depraved imaginings. By then, his body was warped and his mind long fallen into soulless dementia. He was Chizo's, utterly and completely his slave. Trilby! Siobhan, you were supposed to leave. I couldn't, Abed, the professor, he's dead! I know. He was killed by the shadows. Just like they will kill you if you do not get away from here. What is this place? This cave is the center of the reality shift. This cave, the stump is what is causing it all. How? It's the vessel for the soul of the tall man. The acolyte of Chizo. Lankman, nice to see a friendly face. Amazing, isn't it? Of all the things Sir Roderick could have used to murder his son, he chose that idol. Placing the soul of John Defoe into the wood alongside Cabidat's. Infusing the poor retard with Chizo's magic, allowing him to come back infinitely more powerful than before. Certainly pretty lucky. Lucky? Chizo had to wait 2,000 years for that opportunity. The opportunity to blend magic and science in a single entity. The opportunity to create the bridge. What are you talking about? The bridge between the realms, over which Chizo will cross into our universe and purify mankind. Our order has waited 200 years for the prophecy to be fulfilled. You're not with the Ministry of Occultism. Who are you? 200 years ago, the prophet Jack Verhorn founded the Order of Blessed Agonies. Since then, we have grown and watched and waited. It was only in recent years that the events foretold the Book of Chizo began to occur. It mentioned John Defoe, and it mentioned you. Me? You were the one prophesied to guide the bridge keeper to his destiny. But you didn't finish the job. All 3 aspects of John Defoe had to be destroyed to create the bridge. Body, mind, and soul. You only destroyed his body. His soul and mind remained. Had I known about this, I wouldn't even have done that. That will truly disappoint my superiors. They were quite adamant that I should try to persuade you to join our cause and fulfill your foretold duty. Is that why you were helping me? They thought if I guided you through your visions and showed you the appropriate passages from our holy books, you'd understand that the prophecy is real. You honestly believed I joined some insane cult just because you handed me some leaflets? Personally, no. A knife in my gut brought an explosion of ice-cold agony. I heard the pitter-patter of my blood on the rocky floor. The pain, the surprise, and my exhaustion went together to cause immediate unconsciousness. I awoke to find myself splayed upon the stump, blood still slowly leaking from my wound. In my injured state, I could barely move. My limbs refused to respond. I was weak as a newborn. Lankman! Oh good, you're awake. I was afraid you'd miss this. What are you doing? After your staggering ineptitude in Defoe Manor, the Order needed to nudge things along. We needed a connection to Chizo to help administrate his coming. Today, what? You're going to what? Bring that thing into our world? With a standard ritual of blessed agonies and an offering. After he takes your life, he will be grateful to us. And then he will guide us to our destiny. So why did you stab me? What if I'm already dead by the time he gets here? You won't be. Men like you, Trilby, die on their own terms. They don't weakly let their life slip away from one measly knife wound. Hush now. Kabadath is coming. Siobhan, are you there? She's here, but she can't answer you. She has nothing to do with this, Linkman. Let her go. On the contrary, it is important that all three of us be here. It is a part of the ritual. Why are you summoning the tall man? What possible use could he be to you? You've been experiencing flashbacks, I know. You saw Kabadath's attempt to summon Shizo, yes? I saw that he failed quite drastically. He assumed our lord could be summoned with any old basic demon summoning rite. But Shizo is far greater and more powerful than his rivals. He is very nearly a god, a man of pain. It takes a great amount of magic and a much more complex ritual to summon one such as he. We do not know it, but the tall man does. He will teach us. He will guide us. He will teach us. I called you. Sorry, I fucked that up. Talk, book. What does the prophecy say about me? The Book of Jizo prophesies the creation of John Defoe the Wraith. It states that when his body, mind, and soul are destroyed in conjunction, the bridge between the realms will be created. It also states that you were supposed to guide this process. But we can expect one or two inaccuracies in the prophecy written so long ago. My attempts to move only made things worse. I felt a stab of pain and something snapped behind my eyes, filling my vision with spots. I was losing blood steadily. My arms and legs were limp and unresponsive. I couldn't move. Let me kick this dude. This is blitz. Let's move. Look. From my position, I can only see a small portion of the wavering cavern. I could see the idol of John Defoe on the stump beside me and my bloody waistcoat lying discarded on the floor. With my other senses, I could detect the presence of Siobhan and the redoubtable Linkman. Strangely, my first thought was the vision of the repair and laundry bill. The treacherous cultist was wandering around the stump in a manner that I suppose was relevant to his ritual. I could not see Siobhan, but I could hear her trying to moan through a gag. The pain was now replaced with an ice-cold numbness that was spreading fast. The room was swimming before my eyes. I call thee from the west. It was becoming harder and harder to breathe. Air rattled in and out of my lungs like a buzzsaw. Reality flits from realm to realm, tormented, confused. End this madness, that we might bring thee to us. Legs were limp and unresponsive. I couldn't move. My vision was... What did I say? God, every time I go to type something, I died. It was cold. Whatever. Come. What? He's dead? No, that's not possible. Master, Master, please, no. No, no. No! Trilby? Go back, Trilby. Leave me alone. I'm dead. Not yet, not fully. Your mind and soul are drifting apart from your body. With enough power, there's still time to pull them back. But you must have the will to return. Forget it. I've had enough. I did the assignments, I made myself useful, I lived up to the reputation a Defoe Manor gave me. Today, I gave everything I could. And I still died. There's still work to be done. You have not yet completed your duty. I'm sick of duty. I'm sick of prophecy. Just let me sleep. Stronger men than you have tried to fight destiny. None succeeded. Past, present, and future are all different faces of the same die, and few can see them all at once. But I can. The future demands that you live. Return now. I have marked the path. Please, just let it end. Pleading to me is useless. I am just as much of a prisoner of fate to you as you. The future your actions are destined to bring about has already taken place. Without your part, I would not be here to restore your life. So you see, by my mere presence, your decision is already made. Who are you? A murderer and a madman, and a puppet of forces neither of us could possibly comprehend. Trilby, say something. What? You're alive! Oh God, I didn't even know if I was doing it properly. But I did it. You're alive. Where's Linkman? That tall man took him. He did something horrible to him. And then he took him away. Where's my waistcoat? Shh, don't talk. I've already called for an ambulance. Let's get you back upstairs. Wait. See that wooden idol? Yes. Bring it with us. Wrap it tightly in clothes and bring it with us. Don't let it touch your bare skin. Oh, okay. And now it sits across from me. The reality shift had cleared up and we were free to leave. An STP cleanup crew arrived with the ambulance. No trace of a bed or the hotel staff was found. Officially, they'd been classified as unexplained disappearances. Linkman and the tall man seemed to have also vanished, which does not surprise me in the least. Siobhan signed the official secret act, and last I heard is staying with her parents to recuperate. Which just leaves me to write up my notes, with the idol that haunts my dreams gazing at me from across my desk. I was dead. I can't pretend I wasn't. No amount of CPR could have brought me back from where I was. So who did? The man in red? Who was he? If not an insane hallucination and brain death. Unimportant, I am alive and that's all that matters. Just that, and the destiny of this wretched statuette that I am apparently fated to carry out. Every instinct of my being wants to burn it to ashes and grind them into dirt, but I do not. Lankman spoke of a prophecy that the destruction of John Defoe's soul would somehow help him and his order summon their dark god. So if I destroy the idol, they win, but what else can I do? I certainly can't keep it. I know from experience that it leaks malevolent influence like a broken pipe leaks water. The only other option is to hide it, but where can I hide it? Such a thing to ensure that it's never found again by human hands. I shall have to think about this. Trilby, 29/7/1997. The fulfillment of the prophecy continues. The ritual for the summoning of Shizo will go ahead. The events have been set in motion that cannot be stopped. We have the blood of the guide. Now we must wait. wait and prepare. He has his coat there. That's Trilby's coat. At the time there came man from the land of technology, and though his wisdom was great and his power advanced, he had the willfulness of his fellows, so he was the arrogant man. And on the 8th and 20th day of the 7th month of the year of the arrogant man, the king gazed upon the lands of technology, saw the arrogant man, spake this: O king, I beseech you, for the land has become corrupt, and without your benevolent hands all darkness seems to envelop us. I demand of you to cross the border between our lands and make things right, for my power is great. You know what? I'm gonna have to have you guys read this. Actually, I got a better idea. I should have just done that. And the king was greatly amused, for the arrogant man's power was indeed great. The king's power was greater still. And the king said, I will not submit myself, for firstly, my power was greater than yours, and not yours to command. One second. Secondly, while my capabilities are many, it is impossible for me to enter the land of technology, for the border is a dark and treacherous ocean I cannot will away. But I will do this for you, O arrogant man. For all the bigness of your head, you are still small enough to be spared the rigors of the dark ocean. I shall rescue you from the darkness of the land of technology, and you shall live in my household, and here you will learn humility. And the king said it, and so it was. And so was it. So, and the arrogant man crossed the ocean to the house of the king, where he was brought before his majesty, who said, Now you must repay me for the slight your arrogance caused me. For despite your insult, I love you, and I love every man and beast, and you must learn to take this love into your heart. And the king took the body and mind of the arrogant man and separated them from his soul. And this he placed at a great tree. No, love is not a knife. So this Chizo demon, big demon dude, took Kabadath, and I guess he's calling Kabadath this guy. Took the body and mind of the arrogant man and separated them from his soul, and he placed the soul in a great tree in the land of technology. With his action, he announced, Now you are the tree, and the tree is you, and the wood is your soul. And with this gift of separation, your body shall not wither or die throughout your lessons. And so he taught him about pain and agony for a very long time. But should any man interfere with the tree that is your soul, on the day that is mine, I shall lend you the power to... Okay, on the day that is mine, okay. I shall lend you the power to confront them and strike them down with fitting vengeance. And when he touched the arrogant man... okay. And then he touched the arrogant man and filled his heart with warming love. And the arrogant man became the prince, and he knew the name of the king. And the prince and the court of the king bowed down and wept and sang with great praise the name of the king, for great and generous was his wisdom. This is the Books of Chizo, Book of the Prince, Chapter 2. So that's how Kabadath became the prince of a demon of pain.